Now we then continue to look at our distributive property. So when we're multiplying like this rather than in the grid format, we're going to say this times this and then this times this. So negative 4 times 8. Negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. And then we've got an x, so I'm going to put our x. Negative 4 times positive 3, negative 12. X times x, same letter, so 1 and 1 gives me 2. For part B, this time we're going to multiply by 2x for each term, so 2 times 4 is 8. X times a to the 4, they're different letters, so just make sure they're in alphabetical order. 2 times negative 3, negative 6. X times a, just make sure they're in alphabetical order. And 2x times 6x squared, 2 times 6 is 12. And then x times x squared, same letter, so add the exponents together. 1 plus 2 gives you 3. And then our last question in exercise 2. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. X times x squared, 1 and 2 gives me x to the 3. And then we've got a y at the end, just making sure I put the x and y in alphabetical order. Negative 4 times negative 12. X to the 1 times x to the 1 is x to the 2, add the exponents, and y to the 1 and y to the 1 is also y to the 2. And for our last term, negative 4 times positive 7 is negative 28. X goes first, because this is alphabetical order, and then y times y squared, 1 and 2, add the exponents together, y to the 3. So very similar methods for all of these. Now we're doing these basic skills to enable us to answer more complicated questions. So when it comes to simplifying expressions with two sets of parentheses like this, then we're going to distribute the 3 for this part, and then distribute the 6t for this part. So 3 times 2t squared, 3 times negative 4t, and then 3 times negative 15. Now for this one, you should always check the sign as well. This is positive 6t, so positive 6t times 5t, 6 times 5 is 30, and then t times t, add the exponents, t squared. And 6t times 2 is 12t. And then this time we can actually do a little bit more, because we actually have some like terms. So for this one, we've got to make sure that the exponents are the same when we're combining them. So 6t squared and 30t squared we could combine. So 6 plus 30 is 36. And then this is the part where I'll go t squared and t squared, add the exponents. But notice we're not multiplying now. We're actually just adding these together. So we're saying how many x squareds do we actually have? So 36t squared. We have some other like terms here as well. Negative 12t plus 12t. That actually cancels to give us 0. And so the negative 45 can go at the end of our answer. So 36t squared minus 45. Moving on to this one here, 3 times 5 is 15, x squared. 3 times 2x, 3 times 2 is 6, with an x. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. And this one we do have to be careful with, because this one's actually not x, this is negative x. So negative 7, x times x squared is x cubed. Negative x times positive 2x, a negative times a positive is going to be a negative again. X times x squared, because remember these are both 1 and 1, and add the exponents together. And then negative x times negative 3, 2 negatives make a positive. Numbers first, letter second. Now we can do like we did last lesson as well. We can put this in standard form, which means we go for the highest power first. So I can see the highest power here is this one here, because we've got our cubed here. So I'm going to write the answer up here, negative 7x cubed. Any squared terms? Well, there's one here, 15x squared. Take away 2x squared, so that would be 13x squared, positive 13x squared. 6x plus 3x is plus 9x, and then at the end here, negative 12. So we can also go back to our rules that we learned in our very first chapter as well. Now we can also use this for solving equations as well. So if we distribute here, b times 12, 12b, b times b squared, take away 7, equals 2b plus negative 4 times b is actually negative 4b, so I'm going to get rid of that sign. And b times b is b squared. Now we've never actually had any equations that have b squared in before. Now actually that's not going to worry us anyway, because if I subtract b squared from both sides, this is actually going to cancel anyway, so I should be able to work this out nicely. Now I can also combine this term here, 2b minus 4b is going to give me negative 2b. And then now we just get our normal solving of equations. So I can subtract 12b from both sides. And if I do that, that would give me negative 14b on this side. And then divide both sides by negative 14. And I would get b equals negative 7 divided by negative 14. Two negatives cancel, and 7 over 14 is the same as 1 over 2, or a half. Now for this one here, same idea, we're going to distribute here. So d times d, 3 times d. And this one we're going to be careful because this is negative d. So negative d times d is negative d squared. Negative d times negative 4, two negatives make a positive. Once again, d squared, take away d squared is going to cancel. And it has to at the moment, and we will look at how to solve questions with squares in a later unit. 3d plus 4d is 7d. Whoops. And let's not do that. Let's do that instead. There we go. Take away 9d from both sides. So 7d, take away 9d is negative 2d, equals this, don't forget the negative sign, negative 16. And then last step, divide both sides by negative 2, and it cancels. That also cancels, so we end up with d equals 16 over 2, which is 8. Ideally, we should also substitute that back into this equation just to make sure that is a solution for that equation.